What's up, guys? It's Mark here, and today we're doing a little boat work. I need to take my Grady White out of the water, getting some work done on it midwinter, and we're also going to check up on the sailboat that we have for sale at the moment, my beautiful Juneau Sunfast. So I'm going to take you guys on a little bit of a Sunday vloggy experience and in what we're doing on the boats, and maybe talk about the business a little as well. So with that being said, let's roll into it. So it's pretty wild just to see what's going on in the world right now, especially in my world in the marketing space. It is Sunday the 18th, and TikTok has officially gone dark. It's pretty wild. I've been talking about this whole fiasco with TikTok over the last 6 to 8 months now. As we go into this weekend, Trump is going to be inaugurated in office tomorrow. TikTok has gone dark, and it's a pretty wild time. At the same time, Zuckerberg came out and made a couple of pretty interesting remarks, changing his stance on the policies that Meta is going to be using to move forward when it comes to monitoring content, when it comes to how they approach their organization as a whole. Actually, I don't know if anyone listened to this, but it was a pretty incredible podcast. Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he went out and he was actually saying how the Biden administration made Meta specifically put a lot of content dark in the midst of the pandemic, and that content wasn't necessarily fake news. So, obviously in the world that I live in, these platforms are the blood to the media that we help run ads on, and we help facilitate new customers and eyeballs. And it's interesting to see where things are going. Why is TikTok going dark in the first place? Why is there a ban? Well, let's first start with what TikTok is. TikTok is owned by its parent company, ByteDance, that is a Chinese foreign entity. And over the years, China has really made it very challenging or almost impossible for US-based technology and social media apps, anyone from Google to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They've made it impossible for all of these US-based technology companies to be able to actually operate in the country. If you go to China, you can't access Instagram and Facebook. So over the last year, it has become pretty public that the US has lots of intelligence information about what TikTok's parent company and the Chinese government are specifically doing with all the data that they collect on US-based users and customers. And when you think about a foreign adversary like China that is a threat to the US government, China has access to so much information about any one of its users. And over the last year and a half, with its doubling down investment into TikTok Shop, they now have not only user data, but they have customer data. They have US-based customer information. They know if you've bought through TikTok Shop, they know your credit card information. They know your billing address. They know your shipping address. They know what you buy. They know what you watch. They know what you like. They know what you consume. They've built a platform that has so much information on US citizens. And the Chinese government has a back door. They have access to this information. If they want to mine it, if they want to get into it, they have access to it. And the real scary thing about this is, we've seen that there's been a lot of breaches within other social media apps like WhatsApp. Specifically, I was just listening to the latest episode of the All In podcast, and the All In guys, I love that podcast. It's probably my favorite podcast right now online or in the world. And they were talking about how Jeff Bezos and a couple of other high net worth executives actually had their phones breached through WhatsApp. When you think about that, that is a very scary thing, that a foreign adversary could potentially use an app on your phone to hack you as well. Not only having all of this information about what it is, who you are, what you consume, where you live. Who knows what they'll ever use that for in the future. And, at the end of the day, China's not playing with us. They don't want our stuff. They don't want our exports. They don't want our IP technology exports. They tax the hell out of all of our imports into their country. And so, honestly, when it comes down to all of this, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think if China wants to play in the U.S., they need to follow our rules and to do what they want. And freedom of speech is a great thing, and I 100% believe in freedom of speech, and I'm happy to see where Zuckerberg's going in more of a free internet. But at the end of the day, if a platform is going to take so much information from us, and our government feels that they're a threat, I think our government needs to make the right action. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's some news that just came out that, Trump's trying to put in a 90-day kind of freeze on the ban overall, where they can figure things out, potentially get a sale. Who knows what's going to happen long term? I think TikTok's pretty bullish that some deal's going to happen, or else they would have just officially shut down. From insider information, it seems like all TikTok employees are still employed at the org, and they're still working on, the platform as it is internationally, and things are kind of business as usual in the U.S. I think the next few weeks, obviously next few months with the Trump administration in power, will give us some more information on exactly what's going to happen here. Going back to this past year, the main reason why TikTok has been on the chopping block is TikTok had ByteDance executives testify in front of Congress. During that congressional hearing, TikTok executives lied to Congress. They were not truthful about the information and how TikTok's using the platform and who has access to it. So if a company, especially a foreign adversary, is going to come in and lie to the U.S. government, why should they be allowed to operate here? Why should they be allowed to have access to our country as a whole? I just don't see it. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But another point I wanted to make is, when it comes to, marketing and advertising in these social media platforms, obviously there's a lot of small businesses that have put all their efforts into growing a channel through TikTok and have become very successful over the last few years as TikTok has evolved out of COVID into what it is today. And, I think a lot of these businesses that have grown on TikTok are either creator driven and really are talented human beings that, found ways to create really, really compelling content on the platform, and they became super successful. Well, what I'll tell them is, a lot of these people have not been in this space for very long, and I've been in this space now for over 15 years, and I'll tell you, there is a slap that occurs every 3 to 5 years on different platforms. We had the iOS 14 and 15 slaps where, we had these slaps that happened with Apple going to all these social platforms and saying, hey, we're not going to give you access to this data anymore. It's a data protocol issue. It's this and that. We had to change the way that we operate. We did not have access to all the information that was making us more effective marketers. And at the end of the day, the platform, specifically Meta, which is the lifeblood of most small, medium-sized businesses, had to pivot to become effective again. And granted, they've done a great job, and we're seeing phenomenal results across our clients. Meta is still not what it was, pre-iOS 14. And probably will never be again. That was the heyday of Meta advertising. But I digress from there. When it comes down to it, you need to diversify, and you can't rely on these social media platforms to be the backbone of your business. You never know when you're going to get shut down. When you have a social media account, you may think you own it, but you don't. You just rent space. That rental can be taken away from you at any given time. You're essentially renting rent-free without any type of contractual lease. And if you break any types of terms of service, or if the platform thinks you break any types of terms of service, you're going to get shut down. And that's just how it is. They don't care about you. They don't care what's going to happen. You're going to get shut down. You're going to lose your followers. You're going to lose the content. You're going to lose the community that you built in. And that's why at Breadloaf, we leverage these platforms, but we try to extract as much as we can out of it. Because for our clients, fundamentally, the lifeblood of their business is their customer base, and that customer base is by owned media. When I talk about owned media, that's emails that have been opted into, that's SMS that have been opted into, and that is physical addresses. And now we also consider push with the owned apps that we actually own too. Why do we do this? We want to control the data. We want to own the data. When we own those channels, it cannot be taken away from us. Doesn't matter what email or SMS platform you're on, you own those platforms. And if one platform doesn't like you for whatever reason, you can always move to another, right? That's what keeps me sleeping well at night. That's what makes my clients and customers sleep well at night. They know that they're going to wake up, and if a social media account shuts them down, they're still going to be making money. 2 weeks, or I say week and a half before Black Friday this year, one of our clients lost one of their Instagram pages. Still haven't gotten it back. We've got our Meta rep working on it. We've opened multiple cases, and I'm confident we'll get it back. But we're making this video and it's mid-January, and I can tell you that if that client just focused on Instagram, their business would be shut down overnight. And I know that's a feeling that a lot of these TikTok-based brands have, right? They've doubled down on the platform, posting every day, engaging with their audience, building the community, doing lives, selling on TikTok Shop, foundationally building this as a growth lever and a channel for their organization, their company. And now it's just being shut down. And who knows if it'll come back? Who knows, right? It could come back, and the US-based audience can lose faith in the platform overall, right? Creators can move to other platforms. The government could just shut it down completely. They could resell it and things could change. There's so many things that can happen here. If you own your audience, no one can mess with you. You just need to follow the best practices for growth. So our fundamental approach is we use these social media platforms to grow our lists. We use them to run ads. We use them to facilitate curiosity and start building an audience. But ultimately, the business gets built through owned channels. It gets built through owning the customer data. And if you are ever looking to sell your company one day, any potential buyer, private equity group, whoever it is, Holdco, they're going to ask you, how many customers do you have? How often do they buy from you? And what's the lifetime value? If you're a D2C business, an info business, you're any type of digital company, digital organization that people buy through, even if you're service-based and you generate leads, right? That's a lifeblood. It's the growth lever. They're going to want to know these things, right? And if you just say, oh yeah, I have a social media platform, I have an Instagram account, and people watch videos and then they book with me, your company is worthless to them, because they know, experienced operators know, that those platforms could shut you down for whatever reason. And if you don't have the infrastructure, if you don't have the tools, the resources, the data, and the ownership, that you will be done and your business is not useful. So I hope you could take away a couple nuggets on that, and I hope it helps. But today's a little bit of mix of boats and rants and TikTok and everything else going on in the world. We're on our way up to Redondo Beach from Newport, where I keep my sailboat and my Grady White. Like I said, we're going to do a little boat work today. We're going to check the bilges on the sailboat, see if the boat got cleaned. We've got a cleaning service that's been cleaning. We had some issues with some seals that were taking over the finger on our dock. I'm meeting one of my partners out there right now who's going to pick up the trailer on the Grady. We're getting a little work done on the Grady, so it'll be pretty cool to show you guys how the boat gets taken out of the water, and then we'll go through the bilges on the sailboat. Just overall, check out maintenance. We're selling the sailboat right now. We've got the Grand Banks that's coming in sometime over the next couple months. It's getting finished up in Florida right now. I just had a call with Top Coaters. That's our big trade on the project. They're essentially finishing up a couple of the big paint projects this week that we need to get done to make sure the boat's ready to roll. So, hopefully over the next 2-3 weeks, we really put this boat in a place where it is 95% there before it gets to the US. So we're still got a couple of doors and a couple of other things that we need to finish up when the boat gets out here, but the Grand Banks is going to be absolutely beautiful, and we're going to be running it as a charter here on the West Coast to start off. So with that being said, I'll see you guys when we get on the boat. A little dirty from the fires, but looking good. Everything we need to really just enjoy the water around here in SoCal. And today we're going to take the boat out. We're going to get her serviced. It's January right now, so it's the perfect time to get a little boat maintenance done. And after we're done with this, we're going to go over to Juneau and we're going to check out the bilges and kind of get some stuff dialed in. Getting a little work done on that as it's on the market right now and we're ready to sell it. So if you're interested, let me know. That's my partner Dylan. He's picking up the trailer right now. So we're gonna hoist the boat out soon. The sailboat, I actually think they got it done. I think they did some cleaning on it. That'd be great. It's dialed in. Oh, this is the marina. This is Redondo. Little home away from home. Oh yeah, they definitely cleaned the boat. It looks good. Another interesting point I wanted to bring up from that podcast that Zucks did with Joe Rogan was he brought up everything that happened with the iOS 14 and 15 updates and how Apple says we're trying to protect our customers' privacy here, right? It's always about our privacy. And at the end of the day, Apple did this because they see a lot of these other social media companies as big threats to them, and they hate to see them grow. So, Zuckerberg brought up when they launched the Meta optics, I think it was like this last year, they asked Apple if they could have access to the same protocol that they use with AirPods. If you own a pair of AirPods, it's really easy to connect right away once you put those AirPods in and once you take them out. And Apple's the only organization that has access to that protocol that they built with the iPhone, and they won't give anyone else access to it, right? At the end of the day, Apple doesn't really care about your privacy. They do a lot of things that helps them, that doesn't help others, and they're preventing other companies from using that same protocol. So they prevented Zuckerberg and the Meta team from being able to use the same protocol to make a better product themselves. They're just in protection. So I think it's ironic, you got big companies like Apple that have such a massive market share, but they're starting really growing like they used to. Like, there's no innovation at that organization right now. If you've had an update on Apple, you've noticed it. The phones suck. Like, I have issues connecting to the Wi-Fi consistently. I have issues just using my phone. There's bugs. And it's evident that this whole fiasco with iOS 14 and the opting in, the opting out was all just a play for Apple to have more control over the ecosystem and to prevent other companies from being able to leverage that. Apple was upset that Meta and all these other social media companies were generating so much revenue through ads that they couldn't have a piece of it. So they said, screw you guys, we're going to stop it, and it's going to be in the name of privacy, the name of helping our customers. But it's just all BS. It's just another big organization doing what's best for them, and that really affected a lot of small and medium-sized companies across America. So, just on this nice gloomy day, hopefully the sun comes out. I actually think it's more from this firestorm we have. There's a lot of ash in the air, but just because a company says they're doing something that's great for you doesn't mean it necessarily is great. It's more great for them. It is dirty. Oh dear God. They got these out of the water. Oh boy, we got some work to do. All right, well, what a wild day. We got some boat work done. The sailboat was in a little bit of disarray with these fires we've had in Southern California. The boat was just absolutely filthy. We had a huge problem with seals. We had like 26 seals that got onto our finger of the boat. So there was all this seal crap that was splotted on the side of the boat. Some battery issues with our solar panels not charging, but it's all right. I got a lot of cleaning done. We've got our guys that are going to be out there do a full cleaning of the boat on Thursday this week. Miguel and Enrique, they're the best. And yeah, all is good. We're going to have Carl, our electrician, down there to take a look at a few things. But overall, everything's all right. Got a lot of work done. Had a little lunch at the yacht club as well, which was great. And now just heading back home. Last thing I want to talk about, since we were on some rants today, some marketing and advertising and brand building rants. The crazy thing about TikTok, this morning when we were talking about TikTok, the TikTok app was down. It was not available. And as of right now, TikTok is back online. So Trump released a statement with TikTok saying, hey guys, we're gonna pony this ban for a while, and TikTok said, okay, let's go back online. So as of just a couple hours ago, just an hour or two ago, TikTok is back online and rolling. You're able to scroll through. I'm being able to see Spencer Pratt's videos again. And yeah, it's wild. So we're living in wild times, guys. But we'll see what happens with the platform. It's been up and down, on and off, highs and lows. I think it's interesting how the internet works and how politics and policy are getting involved with access to apps and certain sites and things like that. So with that being said, this is a little Sunday vlog, a little mix of boating, a little rant on brand building and platforms. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you guys. Peace.